If you're taking the November LSAT, you're still in a fantastic position to apply to law school this cycle. Today, I'm going to share with you what I would personally do if I wanted to get a top score on the November LSAT this year. For those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my LSAT score from a 152 to a 175 on LSAT test day. Now, I'm going to assume when you're watching this, you probably have roughly 3 months between now and the November LSAT, maybe a little bit more. And I'm also going to assume that you're not brand new to the LSAT, but you've been studying for at least a little while. One thing you want to remember is that not every question on the LSAT is equally important. Some show up more frequently than others. Most notably, there are 2 scored logical reasoning sections and only 1 scored reading comprehension section. And so what you don't want to do is just work through systematically every section and every question type when you're building your foundation. You want to devote more time to logical reasoning because any gains you make in your understanding of logical reasoning will be doubled since it's on 2 sections of the LSAT. And within logical reasoning, there are roughly 15 different types of logical reasoning questions, but some are more frequently showing up than others. The most common types are necessary assumption, inference, and flaw. So you want to master these before you focus on the less common types and the ones that hardly ever show up. Everyone hates parallel reasoning questions and everyone loves to hate parallel reasoning questions, but there are only a couple per section, and they are oftentimes quite time consuming because they contain more words than other questions do. So I wouldn't want you devoting disproportionate time to these questions since they just aren't that common. You want to make sure that you are clear on the difference between necessary assumption and sufficient assumption questions. You want to make sure that you're also clear on the difference between must be true questions and most strongly supported questions. And you also want to make sure that you're clear on weakened questions versus flaw questions. LSAT prep is all about distinctions. LSAT wants to test your ability to recognize small nuances and arguments and nuances between different questions that they're asking you to solve. So make sure that you're not just looking at, okay, I have trouble with strengthening questions, I'm going to drill a bunch of strengthening questions in a row. Make sure that you understand how to go between one question type and another question type, since, of course, on test day itself, you're not going to be drilling questions by type, but rather you'll be doing the questions in the context of a full section where you're going to be hit with a grab bag of different questions, one after the other. Students love to drill questions. Oftentimes, they're a little bit scared of doing timed work, but the LSAT, of course, is timed, and it's also not just individual timed sections. It is also, of course, going to be a full-length timed exam with 2 sections back to back, a 10-minute break, then 2 more sections back to back. And so if you're worried about delaying or procrastinating doing your timed tests, you want to make sure that you have a strong structure to your LSAT prep. You want to have ideally a day-by-day LSAT study plan, which is why at LSAT Unplugged, we create these personalized day-by-day study plans for all of our students, no matter when you're taking the LSAT. So if your LSAT test is 86 days away and you're working full time, we'll create a plan just for you. If your LSAT is 95 days away and you're in school full time and you have young kids, we'll create a study plan for you as well. Whatever your situation, we map it out for all of our students, whether you're in our small group classes or our one-on-one LSAT coaching programs. If you're interested in finding out more, you could check out the links below to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. Now, we can divide LSAT prep, broadly speaking, into 3 major phases: accuracy, pacing, and endurance. Accuracy is drilling questions by type. Pacing is doing individual timed sections to work out how best to allocate your time over the course of the section and work out your rhythm so that you have this internal sense of where you are in the section and where you need to be as the test goes forward. And of course, we're pulling it all together with endurance, doing full-length timed practice tests. Ideally, you want to have at least 10 of these under your belt so that test day itself will feel like just another run through. At the time of recording right now, you've got the time between now and test day to do 10 full practice tests, even at the rate of 1 exam per week, along with, of course, detailed review of that exam. If you want to devote a bit more time to building that foundation and working on your pacing, you could then delay practice tests a little bit and increase the frequency later to doing 2 full-length timed practice tests per week, along with detailed review of that exam. That's probably the most I would recommend, though I wouldn't want you doing 3 a week or 4 a week, except in rare cases, because I don't want you to run the risk of burnout. Burnout is real, it's a problem, and you want to go into test day feeling fresh, cool, confident, and ready to crush that exam. I'm also going to recommend that you do all your practice tests in LSAC's Law Hub Advantage platform because it's the only platform that's going to look and feel exactly what test day itself is going to be like using Prometric. Books are not similar. Third-party private prep company platforms are not similar. Law Hub is the best place to do your practice tests because it's the only platform that's going to mimic exactly what test day is going to be like. Anyway, folks, that's all for now. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.